So let's discuss the new atheism's explosive growth since the early 2000s, its failed predictions, our fun new arguments, and the future of atheism. Why did the new atheism become so popular after the 9/11 attacks?
What is the future of atheism? Many people are asking this question, including Apologetics Roadshow, a channel that I found recently. I forget how I found them. I wanted to take a look at them because they have a video called The Future of Atheism, and I am just interested in what they think it is, because I'm an atheist, and I'd love to know what my future is. So please, give me my fortune, Apologetics Roadshow.
Atheism
Begin.
is a joke with no punchline, told by a comedian who's about to get booed off stage. Some of you are too young to remember atheism before the circus clowns took over and spray painted the new atheism down the side of that crazy train. But believe it or not, atheists in the 1980s and 1990s weren't nearly as angry as they've been in recent years. And they didn't usually care a whole lot about what other people believed. The general atheist attitude when I was growing up was...
In the 1980s and 90s, they weren't allowed to be. Like, the reason that there are a lot of atheists now who are... Like, the reason that the r/atheist, like, angry atheist stereotype occurred is because of, like, pushback from Christians every time atheism even reared its ugly head, you know? This guy is David Wood, the dude who's a clinical sociopath. Oh, nice. Cool.
Look, if believing in Jesus and the Bible and heaven...
And there are dick atheists, make no mistake, but frankly, like, with how Christians treat everybody else, I think that's the bigger problem.
...and somehow helps you, I'm not your boss. You have fun in church. And go ahead and say a prayer for me if that makes you happy.
That's basically my attitude.
What do I care?
If somebody says, I'll pray for you, it depends on the context. But if it's like, I say I'm bisexual and they say, oh, I'll pray for you, I'm going to tell them to shove their prayer up their ass. I don't need it. If it's just like a general, I'll pray for you, that's fine.
There were, of course, some aggressive atheists, the kind that made people wonder, how are these guys so perpetually enraged at...
He smashed his dad's head in with a hammer when he was 18. That's not true. No, he didn't. What? Wood was an atheist in his youth and stated that he had run-ins with the law by breaking into homes. He later smashed his father's head in with a hammer at the age of 18 in an attempt on his life. Holy shit. He's literally... Okay, yeah. Listen, not to dunk on people with antisocial personality disorder, but, like, at that point, if you're not... Like, is he seeking treatment? Does he have treatment? And, like, I don't know. Like, that's one of those disorders that's very difficult to contend with. I don't know. No comment. Let's just take him at his word. Let's see what he has to say.
Someone they don't believe exists.
I'm not prepared to dive into the nuances of being antisocial.
But there were barely enough of them to be annoying. Atheists back then got along with Christians.
Only 10 years? Jesus.
They had friendly conversations with Christians.
He did. He tried to kill his dad.
Whenever anyone disagreed with them about anything. They didn't spend every waking moment posting, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy. In fact,
that was annoying.
If you're an atheist today, and you were somehow able to jump into a time machine fueled by 1.21 jerkawatts of narcissistic personality disorder, and you traveled back...
He knows he has that, right? Like he literally has that.
In time to 1985, and you told an atheist from 1985 that in the future, atheists are going to spend all their time on social media typing...
Or not narcissistic, but antisocial. Yeah, that's literally him.
Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy. That...
And being antisocial also often comes with narcissism.
1985 atheist is going to ask you what social media is, and then he's going to throw his Dungeons and Dragons dice right in your face and tell you to get a life. So, what happened?
There were a lot of D&D players who were like oppressed back in the day because like they had to do it in secret because Christians thought they were like committing some kind of ritual or something. Like Christians have always been like way worse than atheists in like every way imaginable.
To atheism. Who fed that cute little mogwai after midnight and then poured Miracle Grow and Red Bull all over the gremlin?
Oh, thank you, buddy.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. And once you understand the rise of the new atheism...
Yeah, atheists have narcissistic personality disorder. Meanwhile, literally has a personality disorder. Like antisocial. He's literally antisocial.
You'll see why its
pot
run
calls the
is
kettle,
coming
pot meet
to
kettle.
an end, and why Christians are about to have not one, but two fun new arguments against atheism. So let's discuss the new atheism's explosive growth since the early 2000s, its failed predictions, our fun new arguments, and the future of atheism. Why did the new atheism become so popular after the 9/11 attacks? 3 reasons. First, Westerners were jolted out of their tolerant slumber by a series of attacks carried out by people screaming Allahu Akbar. The new atheists used these attacks to say, see, this is what religion does. Science.
True. I mean, kind of, right? Like religion was very much a driving factor in a lot of terrorist attacks, a lot of violent attacks, I should say. So yeah, true. It was largely religiously driven.
Science flies you to the moon. Religion flies you into buildings.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But they didn't just send people into a panic over Islam. They also said,
I soyed a little bit.
And don't think that other religions are much better. Christians are about to elect leaders who are going to impose Christianity on the rest of us. Christians are about to use democracy to end science and to establish a Christian theocracy. And the only way to stop it is for millions of people to leave Christianity.
Has he left Project? Has he read Project 2025?
And become atheists. So
no, the only way to stop it is just to crush like state-empowered Christian institutions.
The new atheists saw that people were alarmed. They used that alarm to send people into a panic about religion in general. Second, the emergence of...
As opposed to Islam, the bad religion. Not like my religion, the good religion. Okay, dude.
Social media allowed the new atheists to use a certain low-level manipulation tactic on a global scale. What's the manipulation tactic?
Yeah, atheism did exist as soon as theism did. You can't tell me that there was, like, at all points in history, an entire group of people who were all a monolith about their religion and how they believed that there were gods. Like, not all of them. It could not have possibly been every single one of them. At all points in time, anytime a religion exists, there is somebody who does not believe that religion. Okay? Every time.
Something we've seen over and over again in various forms for many centuries. The basic formula is join this group and you're better than everyone else in some significant way. We see this constantly from the Dawa gangs. Their message is, if you join Islam, you're strong. If you don't, you're weak. Look at us, we're strong. Other people are little weaklings. The new atheists did the exact same thing. But their message was, if you join us, you're smart.
But like Christians do that too. Like he's acting like this is a strictly a not Christian thing. Like he's acting like Christians don't do it is my point. He's acting like Christians never do this. Like Christians always do this shit. They talk about how like they're the purest, the holiest, like you'll be saved. Like that's just like convincing people. That's he's critiquing the concept of like convincing people to join your side. Right? Like that's what he's critiquing is convincing people. Like what?
If you don't,
why should I be a Christian? Convince me, you know? I'll convince you why you should be an atheist if you want, you know?
You're a stupid religitard. What do you want to be? A super smart atheist or a super dumb religitard? You want to be smart? Great.
I wouldn't go that route. I don't think you're necessarily stupid for believing a religion. I think that it's usually guided. It's usually like a little bit, I don't know. I guess it's complicated because I have a couple of beliefs myself that could be considered religious. Like that consciousness is kind of an omnipresent force in the universe and that like when we die, our consciousness slips back into like a collective sort of consciousness. I have no evidence for that, but that's kind of my headcanon for how the universe works. So like, I wouldn't say that people who are religious are stupid. I don't think it's a stupidity thing. I think it's a faith thing. And faith requires belief without any evidence for your belief. You know, it's like having faith that aliens exist, right? It's not exactly the same. And we can extrapolate based on data that we have to assume, yes, aliens probably exist, but you still don't really have evidence of aliens existing, right? So it's like similar in that capacity. So all that's to say that, like, I don't think people are stupid for being religious. I just think that they lack they're always going to lack the evidence for it.
And you can make fun of religious people and feel smart. You can even come to the next Reason Rally, where we sit around and pat ourselves on the back for being so into science.
I agree there are some people who are annoying like that.
Is pathetic, but the movement had the advantage of social media.
Way more Christians
They got to use this approach on billions of people, and millions of people fell for it. We want to be smart, so we'll join your group. What do we have to do now? Oh, just spend every waking moment making fun of people with Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky...
Okay, that's going to get really old really quick. It's already gotten old.
Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy. And that makes...
Also, does he use the same 5? Hold on, let's compare.
So Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy.
Okay, we're at 526. It's Leroy.
Typing Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy.
Okay, they're different. They're different.
Making fun of people with Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky
One more for good measure.
Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy. And that makes us smart? Yeah, that makes you smart.
I hope he does it again.
Sure does, doesn't it? Third, because of the first two factors,
yeah, Sky Daddy is a massive trigger. Now I'm going to say it more.
The new atheism became what we might call evangelical atheism.
I think he gets triggered because it reminds him of the time that he tried to kill his dad.
There was a strong emphasis on winning
fair
converts. Not all ideologies strive to convert people. Christianity does. Islam does. Atheism didn't much.
Question for this Christian. Are you going to hell because you tried to kill somebody? I genuinely want his answer to that. Well, you tried to kill your dad, right? So are you going to hell for that? I'm just curious.
Until the new atheism took over. Then atheists became obsessed with getting the entire world to agree with them, which really makes no sense from an atheist perspective. Christians proselytize because these are matters of eternal significance in Christianity. Muslims
and it's really annoying.
Proselytize because these are matters of eternal...
I don't want to go to heaven. I don't want to go to heaven. Exclude me. Take me off of your call lists. Take me off of your saving lists, okay? I'm fine with going to hell. I'm fine with going to hell. That's fine, okay? So stop praying for me. Stop saying, listen, you're going to go to hell, because I don't care. I'm good.
Eternal significance in Islam. Why would atheists suddenly care so much?
You know something about medicine? Let me teach you guys something. If somebody doesn't want help, you can't help them. Did you guys know that? If there's somebody dying of cancer and they say, no, don't cure me. Don't cure my cancer, even though it's a benign tumor that'll kill me in like 6 months. Okay? Don't take it out. Do not take it out. Because God will heal it, right? That's their right. I don't agree with their reasoning. I'll try to reason them out of it as best I can. But until they consent, I cannot take that tumor out of them. Can't do it. Okay? Same deal. Please just abide by consent. I do not consent to you praying for me to go to heaven. Okay? I don't care. I don't want to go to heaven. Stop it.
Much about convincing everyone to agree with their worldview. Well, if atheism is the only thing that can save the world from religion, then salvation is found only in atheism.
And by the way, I'm trying to save that person from dying. They're trying to save me from going to an afterlife that they can't prove is not there. Or they can't prove is there or is not there. They can't prove it either way. So they have no evidence. I do. People die from cancer. So I have evidence and data to back up my points.
So preach, Brother Dawkins. Preach, Brother Hitchens. Preach, Brother Harris. Atheism became evangelical. They promised a kind of...
They love doing that. They love framing atheism as though it's a religion in and of itself. And they do that because they want, like, it's basically holy war bullshit, right? Like, they're trying to demean us that way.
Of salvation, the salvation of the world. And by taking advantage of people's growing concerns over religion and using social media to amplify a simple manipulation tactic, millions of people joined the new atheism.
Good.
But there were three
I
problems
hope more people join.
which led to the eventual decline of the new atheism.
Decline?
First,
What?
the new atheist.
There's still tons of atheists. What are you talking about? What? There's more Hold on. According to the 2014 General Sociological Survey, the number of atheists and agnostics in the U.S. Here, let me just click on this. There you go. The number of atheists and agnostics in the U.S. grew over the previous 23 years. In 1991, only 2% identified as atheist and 4% identified as agnostic. In 2014, 3.1% identified as atheist and 5% as agnostics. Well, I don't know. Seems like it's growing to me. Seems like it's not dying. It's doing just fine.
Had an absurdly simplistic view of the world. Religion is bad, so get rid of religion. It rarely crossed their minds to have a deeper understanding of the various roles a religion plays in a society. The closest parallel I can think of to this simplistic thinking is in the realm of ecology. Ecology is the science that deals with connections among living organisms and between organisms and their environments. Here's how stupid human beings are. A human being will move to a place that has no rabbits and say to himself, "You know what this place needs? Some rabbits. Rabbits would be fun to shoot." Then he'll bring in some rabbits. What? This sort of thing has happened repeatedly in human history, but right now...
I misunderstood the comparison. Or why he was... I misunderstand why he did the rabbit thing. Hold on. I know this is a me thing. It has to be.
Living organisms and... Ecology is the science that deals with connections among living organisms and between organisms and their environments. Among living organisms and between organisms and their environments.
Right.
Here's how stupid human beings are.
Is this just to demonstrate that...
will move to a place that has no rabbits and say to himself, "You know what this place needs? Some rabbits. Rabbits."
Well, there might be other factors involved in why they moved to that place, though. It might just be a happenstance that it was easier to bring the rabbits in. Like, there are other factors he's not accounting for, right? I don't know. This seems like a silly comparison to me.
Would be fun
or a silly
to shoot.
Example.
Then he'll bring in some rabbits. This sort of thing has happened repeatedly
I get his
in human
point,
history, but right now, I'm thinking of Thomas Austin bringing European rabbits to Australia in 1859. He thought rabbits would be fun for him.
Oh, I see. He's saying it's stupid because of how it affects the environment. Okay, that's kind of fair, but that's a lack of knowledge of what you're doing. It's either a lack of knowledge or a lack of caring.
Friends to hunt in Australia, and they were. So what's the problem?
I'm sorry, but it's not intuitive that bringing rabbits somewhere is going to damage the environment. That's not intuitive. You have to learn that from years of experience that have been built up over decades of research and whatever to understand why introducing a new species is really, really bad for an environment. Like, that's not intuitive knowledge. So I can forgive, like, people who from back then for doing that.
Well, rabbits had no natural predators in Australia. Rabbits reproduce very rapidly, and many areas of Australia have moderate climates that allow rabbits to reproduce year-round.
Where's he going with this?
The rabbit population exploded so quickly that within 10 years, hunters could kill millions of them every year without noticing any effect on the rabbit population. Rabbits would invade an area and eat up all the vegetation, massive loss of plant species. Then the other animals that normally ate those plants wouldn't have any food. They couldn't compete with the rabbits.
I get how all this works.
So,
get to the point.
Loss of animal species. Rabbits would so thoroughly devastate all the vegetation that the topsoil would be exposed to wind and water erosion. So plants couldn't even grow back. It was an ecological disaster. What caused it? Rabbits? Not really. Superficial thinking caused the disaster.
Superficial? No. Lack of knowledge. They didn't have the ecological knowledge, did they? If they did, then it's ignorance of that. So it's not superficial thinking. What? They just needed to pray harder. True. Yeah, why did God let that happen? Maybe God should have stopped it. I'm gonna be so serious. I'm far right, but Alec Gunter is right about a lot of stuff. His debates are interesting. Hey, if you want to hop on, we can have a discussion about your beliefs. Not like at this very moment because I'm reacting to something, but after. If you want to hop on after, keep going.
Notice.
I'm not gonna be mean to you. I like literally, it seems like you're a genuine person.
Rabbits would be good for hunting, so let me bring some rabbits here. Simple thought. How difficult is it to follow up that simple thought with questions like, how rapidly will rabbits reproduce here? What do rabbits eat? What animals are currently eating what the rabbits are going to eat? Can these other animals compete with rabbits? Pretty easy questions that human beings don't bother to ask. Instead, we think, here's something.
Okay, this could just be me, but I don't think that that's intuitive knowledge. They didn't have like very good knowledge of how bringing species to other places affected those places. So this is just a bad example.
Thing I want, and not how is what I want going to affect everything else and lead to destruction. What does this have to do with the new atheists? Easy. The new atheists aren't deeper thinkers than Thomas Austin. They think, I don't like religion, so let's get rid of it. I like...
But it's not a matter... It wasn't even a matter of deep thinking. It was just a matter of having the information available to you. Atheists have information available to them, and that's how they... Usually how they became atheists to begin with, and why they stay atheists.
Atheism, so let's get more of it. And they pay no attention whatsoever to the extremely complex...
Why don't they like religion? Have you ever asked an atheist why they don't like religion? They'll give you like 50 different reasons at least.
Web of connections that they have just forever altered. The way ideas are connected in a society is very similar to the way organisms are connected in an ecosystem. And what's been happening in Western society over the past several decades,
we got it,
as every long-standing tradition or value is attacked, is the ecological equivalent.
He's just a fascist. Got it.
Of a forest fire. Destroying the religious and moral framework is like a forest fire. A forest has trees and other plants, birds, mammals, insects, and so on.
You see, letting atheists exist is like letting a forest fire rage. That's actually pretty cool. I'll be a forest fire. That's fine.
The forest burns. The trees, which had been there for decades or centuries and provided stability to the ecosystem, burn. What replaces the trees that burn? Whatever weeds spread most rapidly. Again, I'm really talking about ideas. When the ideas and values that have been the bedrock of your society for centuries are suddenly destroyed.
He's just using like imagery to say nothing. Like he's not proving anything. He's not substantiating anything. He's just using imagery.
What replaces them? Whatever weeds spread most rapidly. So the new atheists really thought that by setting their own forest on fire, some sort of utopia was going to magically...
There's not like an atheist cabal trying to convert people to atheism. That's not a real thing that exists. That's not real. Like atheists just want to be able to not believe in your God for the most part. So either no change or positive change. Why religion then? I agree.
Emerge. Now they're staring at a bunch of weeds they can't control, wondering what went wrong. Second, although
what are the
rare,
weeds supposed to be?
Some of the new atheists did occasionally think beyond the superficial, me no like Christianity, so me get rid of it, to consider the possible...
Christianity is homophobic. Let's start with that. I think that gay people should be allowed to exist as gay people and have gay relationships and be gay and do gay things with each other. I think that gayness is fine. Let's start with that. So it's not unga bunga Christian bad. It's, no, Christian is bad because... reasons, like real reasons. I have real reasons.
Ramifications of getting rid of Christianity.
I say every Christian's homophobic. The comments are already spilling in. Oh my God, I'm Christian and I'm not a homophobe. I see you, I hear you, I got it, okay? I know. I'm just saying there's a tendency.
Richard Dawkins, of all people, for many years has been saying things like, I have mixed feelings about the decline of Christianity insofar as Christianity might be a bulwark against something worse.
I've not
He said
heard
that
of,
in 2010.
maybe I've heard of potash.
In 2018, he warned in a tweet,
"What's worse?
Before we rejoice at the death throes of the relatively benign Christian religion, let's
Richard
not forget
Dawkins
Hilaire
sucks.
Belloc's menacing rhyme, always keep a hold of nurse, for fear of finding something worse." So, Dawkins
Just be afraid all the
that
time?
Christianity may be doing something in society.
Well, I want to move houses, but my house is pretty good right now. What if the other house is worse? You know, like this is just fear of change.
Society that's protecting people, even atheists.
Like, yeah, society would be a lot different if we didn't have religion, if we purged Christianity from it. But yeah, like, okay, it's fine. Different's good. Different can be good. Different is just different.
From
Not good or
something
bad.
even worse than that terrible thing called Christianity. But that never stopped him from blasting away at Christianity, and now Western nations are in a competition to see how much worse can get.
If you need Sky Daddy to keep you from being a bad person, you should stay away from society. Maybe, okay, I've thought of one situation in which Christianity might actually be better than atheism. If you try to kill your dad, if you're a sociopath and you try to kill your dad or something, I don't know. Maybe it's actually better. Like you haven't progressed past the first Kohlberg stage of development, right? Of moral development. If you literally cannot mentally surpass that stage, then maybe believing in a God that will send you to hell eternally for doing bad things is good. You know, maybe that's... I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
Glaring worse is Islam, which Western nations seem completely
Very good point,
incapable
Lily.
of stopping after Christians kept stopping it for 14 centuries.
Don't forget, he tried to kill his
while the
dad.
new
That's
atheists
insane.
claim that they've been ridding the world of superstition, they've really been paving the way for the spread of Islam. And people are starting to notice.
Wait, the spread of Islam? Wait, atheists don't like Islam either. It just so happens that most of the atheists that this guy and me and people in the United States interact with are from the United States, and the United States has a way bigger prevalence and what's the word? Cultural influence from Christianity than from Islam. And that's why they are seen bashing more on Christianity than on Islam. But I've seen atheists bash Islam too. I do it too. I think that there's something in the Quran about Muhammad being with somebody who's like very underage. I think that's terrible. But they also have shit like that in the Bible. So like it's not uniquely bad of Islam to have that. It's just religious shit. Okay? That's why I don't like especially monotheistic religions. Usually polytheistic religions aren't that bad generally. Okay? Because there's not like one almighty God dictating that like, you know, this is what's good and moral and just, you know, and then he proceeds to do a bunch of bad shit. It's just confusing. That's typically why polytheistic religion, like I feel like there's like a there's like some kind of virus that comes along with monotheistic religions. It's weird. I can't describe it. But like I've noticed this trend. Has anybody else noticed it? Like people who believe in polytheism, any kind of polytheistic religion, just generally aren't as much of shitbags. It's cholera, probably. I don't know. There's something about it. Poly religions acknowledge gods are bad and angry sometimes. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's it. Polytheistic religions acknowledge that gods can be bad. Okay? Monotheistic religions just say God good, period, blank, end of story. Okay?
The new atheism
makes it kind of
made
toxic.
some testable predictions. We're now in a
All this is to say, no, atheists are not trying to spread Islam. The atheist Islam cabal.
position to test those predictions. And they didn't come true. What did the new atheists predict? Since Christianity is an obstacle to progress and science, getting rid of Christianity will lead to progress and more science. Replacing Christianity with atheism will make people more rational, more...
Most atheists I've met do not think about Christianity that much. And if they do, it's usually because they're like working to debunk a bunch of like hateful shit from Christians.
Scientific, more noble.
But most atheists
people
just
becoming
chill.
atheists will make society
Most atheists just want to grill.
better. Let me ask, how is any Western nation better
Like me.
in any way thanks to the new atheism?
Atheists tend to be pro queer rights. That's just one example. They don't dictate that, like, they don't think that you're a bad person for being gay. They don't think you're a bad person for not going to church on Sundays, which is completely an arbitrary choice you can make. If you want to go, feel free. If not, it's not a big deal. But, like, they'll call us sinners for not going to church. They You know, they tried to undo certain structures, like religious institutions within our government that are harmful, you know, like sending tax money to private schools, which I think is just really stupid. That's largely religiously driven as well. There's a lot of racism involved. There's a myriad of reasons why things would get better without Christianity.
Have Western nations become more rational, more scientific, more noble?
Not all Christians.
No. Western nations are going completely insane.
Like how?
Millions of people becoming atheists didn't get us one step closer to a scientific utopia.
Is this where he goes full on like racism? Like he talks about like how the white population is dwindling or something? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what he means by the Western society.
Steps closer to a psychotic dystopia. So that's why the new atheism has lost its momentum.
Or like men being women or something like that.
Paving the way for Islam and failed predictions. Now, I mentioned earlier that the epic...
I mean, he is probably racist because he's talking about Islam as though it's like somehow fundamentally worse than Christianity. And usually that's a result of... That goes hand in hand with being racist against brown people from the Middle East because they're often associated with each other, blah, 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 blah.
Failures of the new atheism give us the materials for two new arguments against atheism.
Yeah, it's Islamophobia for sure.
We might call one the argument from inadequacy, or the argument from ineptitude, or the argument from incompetence. After more than 2 decades of massive cultural shifting towards atheism, it really seems that atheism is completely incapable of sustaining a society. All atheism does is destabilize a society so that the society is too weak to stand against dangerous ideas within that society and dangerous ideas coming to that society from outside.
Like what?
Here, one of you atheists might respond, but David, even if atheism turns out to be bad for society, that doesn't mean it's not true.
No, my response is, like what? Give me an example. What?
Not so fast. The driving force behind the new atheism was that religion is bad for society. It's harmful. That's what gave the new atheists their momentum. So what happens
He's not
if
saying
atheism
anything.
is bad for society? What if atheism is harmful?
Okay, prove it.
If atheism is bad for society, it's got to go, right?
I agree. No, I got it. Prove it.
I don't make the rules, I just enforce them.
Prove it.
We might call the other argument the argument from glaringly...
He didn't prove it. He didn't even prove it. He's like, well, it allows the spread of Islam. Period. Done. And it's like, well, why is that worse than Christianity? They both suck ass. What?
Obvious spiritual
He didn't even prove it.
Again, from an atheistic perspective.
I literally am willing to see that point. Like, yeah, if atheism is bad for society, we should get rid of it. Demonstrate. Can't do it.
Doesn't make much sense to care a whole lot about what
what's really bad for society is trying to kill your dad.
Unless it's harmful to you or to society. In other words, this person lives and dies as a Hindu, this person lives and dies as a Muslim, this person lives and dies as a Christian, this person lives and dies as an atheist. From an atheistic perspective, what does it matter? Why would you be obsessed with what other people believe?
Unless they're homophobic. Then usually that leads to them like advocating for homophobic legislation, not letting other people live their lives the way that they want to. Because if you believe that your almighty God, who's in charge of everything, is against people being gay, that is going to influence how you vote. That's going to influence the policies you support. That's going to influence how you act around gay people. So yes, I am upset when people say that it is a sin to be gay. Okay? It is a toxic attitude to hold. A toxic belief to hold.
Unless it's harming you or it's harming society. It makes no sense. So what happens when you find out that something is actually good for you? That it's actually protecting you? That it's actually protecting your society, and you attack it anyway? Take Richard Dawkins, for instance. Dawkins does not like Christianity. But Dawkins has understood for a very long time that Christianity possesses some sort of ability to protect a society from worse things.
Like what?
And what does Dawkins do? He attacks Christianity, removing
He keeps saying worse things.
Until
like what?
He's overwhelmed by the worst things. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
No,
Let's
actually.
get more specific. In his discussion with Ayaan Hirsi Ali about her conversion to Christianity, Ali said that she was so empty and depressed as an atheist, she didn't want to live. And she said
that's a skill
that
issue.
Becoming a Christian made her want to live again.
That's a skill issue.
For about a decade with intense depression and anxiety, self-loathing. I hit rock bottom. I went to a place where I actually didn't want to live anymore, but wasn't brave enough to take my own life. And so I was self-medicating. Having reached a place where I had absolutely nothing to lose. That's terrible. I prayed, and I prayed desperately. And for me, that was a turning point.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. That's something that an atheist does, right? When an atheist gets depressed to the point of not being able to function, the first thing they do is pray, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, this is bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't buy a bit of this.
And what happened after that is a miracle in its own right. I feel connected to
absolutely a grifter.
Something higher and greater than myself. I feel my zest for life is back.
Yeah, religion also gave me more anxiety and guilt and stress. In fact, let's look at the studies. As a secondary objective, what is it? Research in this field of spirituality and health has been growing, with spirituality/religiousness being consistently related to both physical and mental health. The objective of this article is to provide an updated review of the current scientific evidence on the relationship between S/R and mental health, highlighting the most important studies. Findings reveal a large body of evidence across numerous psychiatric disorders. Although solid evidence is now available for depression, suicidality, and substance use, other diagnoses such as post-traumatic stress disorder, psychosis, and anxiety have also shown promising results. The mechanisms that explain these associations and the roles of S&R interventions need further study. So this is about using religion as a part of treatment for somebody. But I don't know that this is necessarily referring to atheism, like converting atheists using religion and spirituality. I've never been against the idea that religion and spirituality can help somebody during periods of mental distress if you are a religious and or spiritual person, but not everybody is. And so it's not going to help everybody. So that's not what I was looking for. Let's just say this. Christians are way more likely to kick out their children for being gay or trans, right? And so it follows, if you're kicked out of your house for being gay or trans, your mental health is going to take a blow. You're way more likely to be homophobic towards your children if you are a Christian or religious in some capacity. And so you are more likely to abuse your kids, and you're more likely to kick your kids out, and you're more likely to cause mental health issues toward those kids, okay? That's what I was trying to get at with mental health in religious households, which I can't find a study for, which is surprising. LGBTQ teens are expelled from their homes by religious parents. We must do better. Since our opening in 2022, more than 10,000 young people have sought refuge from the Ali Forney Center. Most have suffered family rejection due to their sexual orientations or gender identities. When we asked them why their families couldn't accept them, a staggering amount, about 90%, tell us that they were rejected due to their parents' religious beliefs. Okay? So when you're talking about religion impacting people's mental health, that's what I was trying to get at. If you are a personally religious person, then integrating religion into your mental health can be beneficial. But if you're not religious, or if you are using religion as a beating stick for your kids. You said 2022, but the thing said 2002. Sorry, I meant 2002. That's what I meant. If you're using religion as a beating stick for your kids, you are negatively impacting their mental health. I mean, they were kicked out. 90% said that it was because of their religious beliefs. Ridiculous.
Dawkins heard his friend explain how Christianity gave her back her zest for life. Naturally, he responded by telling her how stupid Christianity is.
This is all obvious nonsense.
True, that's what I said.
Theological bull.
Now think about this. They're friends. Ayaan Hirsi Ali is friends with Richard Dawkins.
And?
Imagine your friend saying, I was depressed and I didn't want to live until I believed in such and such. Now I'm happy.
It depends on what the discussion is about. It depends what the discussion's about. Like, if they're having an honest discussion about atheism and Christianity, then yeah, that might be an appropriate thing to say, yeah.
Would your instant reaction be to attack belief in such and such, knowing that it's the only thing keeping your friend from massive depression? Let's change the example so that it's something we would all regard as silly. Suppose you find your best friend on the left
I don't believe you can save people that don't want to be saved, but I believe you get infinite amount of time for that. Let me ask you this. Do you think, I assume you're a Christian, so do you think that I'm going to hell because I don't believe in God, or that I say that I want to go to hell, or I joke about it and I say, don't pray for me? Like, do you think that that is going to send me to hell? Are you chematist? I don't know what chematist is. My question is, do you believe in a hell, and do you believe I'm going there? We don't have hell? Good. That is my main concern with religion in general, is that they believe in hell and they believe that anybody who doesn't abide by every one of their religious principles goes there, and that they have to save as many people as they can from going there. Usually that's the crux of the problem.
Ledge of a building. You say, what are you doing?
Purgatory,
Says,
I can deal with that.
Well, I was so miserable that I was about to jump. But then I saw this crystal by my feet.
Okay, I just decided I'm bored. I'm not going to finish this. This guy tried to kill his dad. I think that all of his opinions are invalid. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.